Tools for managing anger with calm. A lesson from the airport. Dear Amelia Emberhart, yesterday at the airport we learned a valuable lesson together. One I hope we can both carry forward. After waiting in the check-in line for an hour, we were just about to approach the counter when the airline staff decided to prioritize passengers for another flight. Suddenly, all the people who had just arrived were ushered ahead of us. I felt frustration boiling inside me, and I let out a few words I'm not proud of. Reflecting on it, I realized that while their decision was necessary to avoid delays, it could have been handled with much more consideration. They could have informed us earlier to wait elsewhere, or taken a moment to manage the situation with a human touch. Instead, we were left standing there, feeling ignored, frustrated, and honestly, a little foolish. Like our time and ability to think for ourselves did not matter. It felt as if we were treated as though we were incapable of understanding the situation if they had simply explained it. That was what really stung, and I know you felt it too. But here is the thing. No amount of anger or outbursts would have changed what had already happened. The personnel had made their decision. By showing anger or cursing, I only added to the negativity, making myself feel worse, making the staff uncomfortable, and potentially upsetting you and your sisters even more. If I had kept calm, I know I would have felt better afterwards. Anger often masquerades as strength, but true strength lies in staying composed. Anger itself is not a bad emotion. It is part of being human. When managed well, it can even lead to positive outcomes, like solving problems or motivating change. However, when it becomes overwhelming, it clouds our judgment and causes harm. Jerry Defenbacher and colleagues in Principle of Empirically Supported Interventions Applied to Anger Management studied anger extensively, showing that cognitive behavioral therapy offers practical tools to manage it. One of the most effective approaches is relaxation-based techniques. These methods help calm the physiological and emotional arousal that anger triggers, like a racing heart or tense muscles. By practicing deep breathing or progressive muscle relaxation, we can reduce the intensity of our emotions and put ourselves in a better mental state to address the situation constructively. For example, if I had taken just 10 deep breaths while we waited, I might have been able to focus on finding solution instead of letting frustration take over. Another strategy is cognitive restructuring, which targets the way we think in anger-provoking situations. Often, our anger comes from exaggerated or irrational thoughts, like assuming the worst intentions behind someone's actions. In moments like yesterday, I could have reframed the situation by reminding myself that the staff were under pressure and trying to do their best, even if their approach was not ideal. Shifting to more rational and balanced thinking could have helped me stay calm. Problem-solving skills are another essential tool. When faced with anger-inducing situation, breaking it down and looking for practical steps can help reduce frustration. For instance, I could have asked the staff, "Can you give us an estimate of when we will be served?" Or, "Would it help if we waited elsewhere to free up space?" Problem solving keeps us proactive and engaged rather than reactive. Social skills Training adds another layer to managing anger effectively. This involves learning to communicate our feelings and needs without escalating tension. Saying something like, "We have been waiting a long time, and it feels unfair to be pushed aside. Is there a way to ensure we don't miss our flight?" would have been far more constructive than expressing frustration through anger. Combining techniques for constructive action in different situations. Many effective interventions combine these techniques. Relaxation helps us calm down, cognitive restructuring helps us think clearly, and problem solving and social skills helps us act constructively. Together, they allow us to approach difficult situations with strength, clarity, and kindness. If we could replay yesterday, here is how we could handle it differently. First, when we noticed things started going awry, we could have taken a moment to breathe deeply and lower the tension in our bodies. Then we could have reframed the situation. Yes, it was frustrating, but the staff were trying to manage a tough situation. Next, we could have politely asked for clarity or assistance. Finally, we could have stayed focused on what really mattered: getting to our flight on time and enjoying our trip. Anger is natural, Amelia, but learning how to manage it is a skill that will serve you throughout life. It is about staying in control of our emotions, even when things do not go our way. By staying calm and constructive, we not only handle situations better, we feel better about ourselves afterward. Yesterday taught me that, and I hope it is something we can both remember next time. This is your moment. Take command and show us the path.